We start with one of Leah's favorite features today. Here, the vehicle key is available in the vehicle color.
Yay! Carmine red. Let's go!
And now it's my turn here with a full review of the Porsche Cayenne GTS, the new GTS updated version. We're going to tell you all about this 4-liter V8 German Autobahn part extensively for you. And what have they changed here with this facelift in 4K, full screen, full length? Let's go. First of all, basically the whole front wagon has been changed here with this update here for the Cayenne. And the GTS version is the strongest pure petrol engine for the European market. On the Northern American market, you will also have the Turbo GT above that, but soon more about the power figures. The front wagon has a more horizontal stress now here in this lower graphic, for example, and also updated headlamps. You can see here in like this 4-strip design, and this is also the HD matrix LED. It is standard for the GTS model, otherwise it's an option. Carmine red is the color, as Leah just said, and the GTS has special new features. For example, here these wider wheel arches painted in high gloss black, and 21-inch wheels would be standard. These here, however, 22-inch wheels, the biggest ones that are available. Also optional with the carbon ceramic brakes. You can see it here with the yellow brake calipers, which meanwhile you can also get other brake caliper colors for, by the way, but this is like the standard color for that. The wheel design, by the way, has this old school retro 911 design. I think it fits very well to the vehicle. And red and black, they have always been the classic elements for the GTS, even though it's available in different colors. Yeah, that's kind of like the classic thing for that. SUV styling here, you know, there's still the Cayenne Coupe available. However, now they look more alike, because even in the SUV with the update, the number plate went to the lower part now. So this lower part now is more or less the same with Coupe and also with the SUV. And then here the black GTS badge, everything blacked out. Also this 3-dimensional Porsche right there. And now I also activated the rear lamps here. Look at that, there's a light strip going all the way through like this. So it has been a little bit more simplified, this design, I would call it that way. In the lower part, where you can see there's also the sports exhaust. And well, is this a job for the autoputa fake exhaust today? No, not at all. So if you, by the way, want to get your t-shirt, our online shop is online right now. If you haven't seen it so far, it's always integrated below the video and also linked in the video description or in the pinned comments. So get yours right now from the autoputa fake exhaust released, which has done a great job. That, yeah, these ones are definitely clear. Two different engines for the Cayenne, and both are available with or without plug-in hybrid, either a 3-liter V6 or here the 4-liter V8 bi-turbo. 500 horsepower now for the GTS, 40 horsepower plus with this update here. 4.4 seconds is the acceleration figure. That is 0.3 seconds quicker than the Cayenne S, which meanwhile also has the 4-liter V8. So once again, as I said, in the EU, the strongest pure petrol engine. Turbo GT would be above that than in the Northern American market. Quicker would be just the electrified turbo then. Well, and there's even more features here for the GTS, and they even took some of the features from the Turbo GT. For example, the negative camber or for the front wheels, so it's even sportier, more direct in the driving, and it gets Cena, the adaptive air suspension. Optionally, you can also get a rear axle steering up to 3 degrees. It turns in from the rear wheels in the opposite direction than the front wheels, making the car more agile at lower speeds, better U-turn and so on. And optionally, also equipped with this vehicle, you can also get the PDCC. That's a Porsche Dynamic Chassis Control, and that is an anti-tilt control that it stays even more upright. This vehicle here is equipped with soft close, ta-da, but also the door closing sound. It's pretty nice. More high frequency in the front, a little bit more low frequency in the rear. I like it even more in the rear actually about that than inside of the doors. GTS version here with some microfiber use already here. Pretty stiff, however, not really soft, but really stretched tightly. Red contrast stitches, also some covering at the inside of the lower doors, for example. GTS entry badge and even more red contrast stitches together with a Racetex steering wheel, my favorite steering wheel. Good grip for that one. Then the seats also with microfiber race text, however with a new pattern. So it's not just plain microfiber, it has a special pattern, and then there's the microfiber on top of this pattern. So that looks really interesting for sure. But how is it in comfort? I would say the main difference is that when it's completely microfiber, like here or at the inside of the doors, it is a little bit stickier, and here you slide a little bit more on that. We have to see also long-term comfort, how it plays out. Then 189, 6'2", some headroom left here. So overall good, comfortable seating position. There's no completely animal-free choice yet for the Cayenne, but this is more or less the one that comes closer to us, together with the Pepita option in this special sports package. Electric seat control here, back part, also here, up and down, front part, and so on. And I always like this platform of the Tour Rack Cayenne Q7, Q8 here, because it has this kind of like this flat entry, you know, from this area to the door sill, that makes a kind of like a special atmosphere in the vehicle. Cockpit overview with screens, 12.3, 12.6, 10.9. Yeah, there's an option in the passenger screen. You can only see it when you look directly, you know, like this. From the side, it's not visible as a safety precaution for the driver. I'm still not convinced of the use of the passenger screens. However, I have to say, then the horizontal stress here with red contour stitches. Sports chrono package is even an option for the GTS. And then here have the analog chronometer. That looks always pretty fancy. And I also like this brushed dark aluminum style here as the decor element. Then we have the panic handles when we drive a little bit quicker, for example. For Lear, yes. Then the middle console, a lot of high gloss black, and this does collect a lot of scratches. You can already see it right here. This is a brand new car, but it already has scratches. And then this one here, a little bit loose. I would feel, why isn't this just a fixed lever like here to slide it open? And then 2 USB-C chargers. The inductive charging pad is now also cooled actually. And this is of course here my very favorite feature, when you have the clicking sounds for the climate unit, strength, and also the temperature. I like that. Just the seat heating is in this capacitive BS style. Then adaptive cup holders, 12-volt power supply cover, also once again with this plastic galvanized metal knurling around. That's pretty cool. And then this armrest, you can slide it open, some more space underneath. The only thing is here, once again, in the US version, it's fixed that it cannot slide forward. I'm not sure why they don't do that for the EU versions. Is that also cost saving? Is it cheaper to produce in that way? Because here, I mean, now I have to intentionally do that, yes. And it's also better fixed than in some of the vehicles we had before. But now imagine you have 2 elbows here, driver and co-driver or passenger side. And then you are on the brakes, rest your elbows both here. And while you're on the brakes, it goes like this. Happened to us before in the test drive. And then no problem if you have some water bottles here or something, but then imagine you have like a paper coffee cup here or something, it's full.
Matcha latte?
Or matcha latte for Leah, of course. And then both elbows here, and then it goes like this. Yeah, and then I think you'll have some work to fix this spilled coffee here, or this crushed coffee, crushed iced coffee then probably all over the place. So yeah, I think they should just put the US version fix for that one, yeah. But no problem for our viewers in the US for sure. Then here the steering wheel, once again great grip, and also nice shifting pedals here with a good feedback sound. I really like this more classic user interface here. From the driver POV here you change the drive modes, and also nice that you can change the volume here at the steering wheel with your left thumb. It's always also interesting, right? I say left thumb and then I use my right index finger because I'm holding the camera with the left thumb. And then here you can change through the different settings in the infotainment system. You can change the middle view. I like this with the big red RPM meter. Right side you can also change, and you can even change what you want to see in the head-up display, because here you can also have this view that you have an RPM meter in the head-up display actually. Infotainment system with this new main menu. If you want to change where the vents are coming from, by the way, that you have to do inside the infotainment system. The other stuff like strength and temperature is also possible from below. Always nice to check out these car settings here. You can also manually activate the exhaust note, for example, but if you activate the sport mode, you can see it comes on automatically. but overall I'm quite happy with the infotainment system. An Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, also with a wired connection or wireless, both is possible and good integration. And we're also happy with the Bose sound system. Rich in bass, I have to say, so I wouldn't put the bass up in the equalizer, just leave it as it is. Oh, she likes the bass, yeah. Rear seats, first of all the rear doors, here also with the GTS microfiber covering. It's also beautiful here with the this dark brushed aluminum style. Inside here is also covered from the inside, and then we can actually move the rear bench for more trunk space or more legroom here in a 2/3 to 1/3 split. Yeah, most of the time, of course, when you have rear passengers, you need to leave them back anyway, and here to the seat as I would be driving, some legroom left, no problem. Huge middle tunnel here, however, it's of course all-wheel drive, always with a rear wheel bias, and you also have a separate climate unit here, still with the real deal, with real metal knurled controls like that. Capacitive BS controls, however, then here for the seat heating in the rear. And then when we check the headroom with 1A9, 6'2", still some headroom left. This is where the Cayenne Coupe has some more drawbacks because it has a little bit less headroom than here in the rear. This then once again good view to the wide extensive panoramic glass roof, and from here let me also show you how we open that one, because it actually opens pretty wide. Yeah, the rear passengers most of the time have even more advantages to see that actually. Only when it's open, then it's maybe a little bit more for the front and so on, but definitely pretty cool. Then here we can fold down this here. Cup holders are not adaptive though. And then the ski hash, you can also do it like from here. You have the same new pattern also on the seats. So this is where you have this structure on the side, and they are on the top then with microfiber. So yeah, very interesting new structure, and isofix here. These clips are to be removed, however, then yeah, you always have to ask yourself where you actually store them to put them in place later again, or you leave them out for a longer period of time or something like that. You can also change the inclination of the seat like this, more upright or then more back. So the rear seating comfort here is really good. Trunk or boot check. Of course, if you have the SUV, you're a little bit more flexible here in this height in comparison to the coupe, but it doesn't make the biggest difference. Then here the manual rail. Let's see here, it kind of scratches against this part here always. Then the normal length is about 1 meter or 40 inches, and the width is a little bit more than 1 meter or 40 inches. Here you can lift this mat, you don't have to have it, of course, then you can put this whole thing up. There's also space for a replacement tire underneath. This then here the subwoofer, Bose subwoofer. And if you have the air suspension, you can also put the car here a little bit lower with the air suspension. You can even see it on camera here now as it goes lower. And you can also here put out the towing hook. That's an interesting mechanism. We haven't seen it in that way yet, sideways. Interesting, isn't it? And you can also, of course, once again, store it back in place. There you go. But then here to fold the seats, I mean, there's also a ski hitch available. That one you can also easily reach from here and do it like this. However, then to fold the seats, you have to go around and then do it from the rear compartment like this, and you can also fix them in place here. This is, by the way, this trunk splitter you can also move a little bit like this, forward and backward. In total length here, by the way, 1.85 meters, or now Leah has to help me with the inches.
72.
72, thank you. Sport Plus. Woo! That was 50 to 140. Yeah, because that 911 Turbo S here in the front blocked our way. Incredible. But maybe he's up for a race. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, this 4-liter V8 bi-turbo here has a very nice sound indeed, and this has become very rare. Yeah, of course, that's always for the inside and when you're maybe like driving freely. When you're in your garden, you know, and trying to relax, and this one is passing outside, maybe you don't find it that funny. But definitely this is something here that still pays off as for the sound. We had their discussion recently with the 911 GTS Hybrid, and that was like, yeah, honestly, rather sounded like a lawnmower or something. But this one here still has a real sonorous, low frequency sound. And even if you're just slightly on the throttle, oh, did you hear that? Like when you're slightly on the throttle and then suddenly release, plop, 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 plop. So this is still happening, you know, then when you let go of the throttle, that you have these plops and crackles from the exhaust then in the rear. And you also have this sport response button here. That was some 100 to 170. So you see, even in that acceleration area, of course, this 4-liter V8 is doing a great job. And here with this sport response button, you can even a little bit more boost for what was like 20 seconds. Yeah, but if you're in the Sport Plus mode already, then it's already going a gear lower and so on. So then it's already ready to attack, and yeah, you don't feel any turbo lag or something like that. At the same time, these seats here are holding you tight. They are quite firm indeed, as you might also expect from a Porsche. And I mean, we are in an SUV here, and when you go left, right, doesn't shake up at all. So we have different technologies here. First of all, the air suspension in the sports mode, Sport and Sport Plus, goes a little bit stiffer. So when we're doing a lane change here, yeah, it really feels like someone has put like a 911 just a little bit higher. That's incredible. I mean, it's like it doesn't shake up like a single or like a half degree. It just stays upright. So air suspension stiffer. And we also have this and like this negative camber in the front, taking over from Turbo GT. Also, this one was blocking, or was I don't.
Yeah.
You mean the 911 Turbo? Yeah, he is like fed up now from all the guys in front of there blocking. And we also have the PDCC here, which is also then active, and this is even more, you know, keeping the car level, anti-tilt control, and this is just a phenomenal ride. Of course, when we have here some like waves, I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but we're like a little bit blop, 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 blop. So when you have this sporty setting, then you also feel it more, and we have 22-inch wheels mounted. So when we go to the normal mode, you directly feel in the air suspension that it's leveling everything out a little bit smoother. So long-term motorway, I would rather keep it in the normal mode. It's still super sporty, definitely, but it's just making the ride more comfortable, especially when there are some waves in the road. So that's definitely a cool thing to have. And let's just test it here when I'm in the normal mode and doing some left-right. It's actually nice, super nice, and it doesn't shake up at all either. So you don't need the sport mode for that. I actually feel that the vehicle is feeling even more, let's say, balanced and like going full circle between sportiness and comfort when you just leave it in the normal mode. Then it's such a great motorway cruiser. And you know, yes, when you drive a Porsche Panamera, for example, from the whole, you know, G-force, the G-force that are applied are of course the same in physics-wise, but they have a different effect on you. You know, when you sit lower, it's just while driving more comfortable, I always feel. But for an SUV, this is, let's say, the least drawback in the sportiness you can make an SUV feel. Just remember how heavy this vehicle and how large it is and how easy it is to direct in the handling. So from this sporty handling aspect, it's definitely one of the best SUVs out there, but one of the best performance SUVs. The lane keeping assist, by the way, has also been updated here in the facelift, all the assistance systems. Let's say they don't pay the biggest emphasis on the assistance systems because they say, hey, it's still a driver's car and so on, so they don't have like this super elaborate assistance systems and so on. But then again, you always also have to say that the lane assist itself can sometimes be a little bit annoying. But here, when you have this separate column here underneath, and then you can actually press and hold the button underneath, and then you deactivate the lane keeping assist, and then you're getting rid of that. Here, now in this S combination, beautiful. You can accelerate out of the corner. It's just amazing. So on the one hand, when you step into the vehicle, you have this grown-up SUV feeling, and on the other hand, you think like, I mean, if I would happen to cross the Nürburgring Nordschleife at some point, I'd just take on it, do 2 laps and then leave again, relaxed. That's the cool thing about the Cayenne. There's hardly any other performance SUV that can keep up with that performance. At the same time, when you put it to the normal mode, nice crackle and plops, it's still, once again, good in comfort. And that is not easy to achieve. And here, when you're going on the motorway, switching from one to another, it's always nice to have these power reserves. Holy moly. Yeah, just this level of sophistication it delivers is extraordinary. And then when you see, there's a little bit more traffic, you just go to normal mode, relax again a little bit. And yeah, since these seats are on the one hand firm, but on the other hand, when they keep you a little bit tighter, they also keep weight off the lower lumbar area, and that also brings some comfort again. So here, let's test the adaptive cruise control. And that one, now the distance is kept to the car in front of us. And yeah, I could also say, like, click this one button again, then the lane keeping assist is active again. And sometimes I feel that's maybe the only downside. So when here you maybe want it to be more active, then it's not that sophisticated. And then again, in situations where it might annoy you, it's, it does annoy you. So that's maybe the only thing I'm not super happy with. So I actually tend to deactivate the lane keeping assist and maybe just use the cruise control then for back and forth and so on to relax a little bit. And then when I want to attack again, then it's already deactivated, and that's it. That would probably be my favorite setting here. Passenger comment. It's approved by Leah.
Yeah, approved.
Yeah. She likes it. She's very relaxed.
Passenger princess,
yeah.
thumbs up.
Thumbs up from the passenger princess. That's nice. Yeah, yeah. Because again, it's really nice for long-term travel. At the same time, it does bring you that performance when you need to. Yeah. The only thing is, of course, you also get performance with other engines here with the Porsche Cayenne. The one you have here in the GTS, or then on the Northern American market, the Turbo GT, is the one that is also the most expensive fuel-wise. Consumption, yes, it's a high fuel consuming vehicle, some 13 liters on 1 kilometers, 80 mpg US or 22 mpg UK. Pricing, well, a base Cayenne, for example, on the US market starts at $85,000, $125,000 US for the GTS, then some spec on top. In euros, for example, the German price is 100k for the base one, then 140,000 euros for the GTS. But this vehicle, as it stands here right now with all the extras, whistles and bells and whistles, 180,000 euros. Actually the very same price than we recently had for the Panamera Hybrid. I'm not sure if you have seen this review yet, but definitely, yeah, the Porsche prices have absolutely gone through the roof. The special thing about the GTS is really that it feels kind of racetrack ready. Although it's a strong, high building SUV, it behaves like it wouldn't be an SUV, But I really have to say, from the driving comfort, Panamera is definitely better, because we directly have driven it before this one here, basically jumped from the Panamera to the Cayenne. So if you wonder about this question, that goes definitely in the direction of the Panamera. We have more versions of the Cayenne facelift for you, the base one, the Cayenne S, or also a different review with the turbo.